Hello there. Go ahead and let everything settle. Find that perfect spot on your pillow, the one that feels like it was made just for you. Take a nice, slow breath in, and then just let the whole day fall away with the breath out. You don't have to do anything now. You don't even have to try to sleep. My only job is to talk in a nice, boring way. And your only job is to listen for as long as you feel like it. That's it. Your mind might still be spinning a little bit, thinking about all the things you did today and all the things you have to do tomorrow. That's okay. Let it spin. Think of it like a wheel that's been turning fast all day. It doesn't just stop all at once. It needs to slow down little by little. And this story is just something for it to listen to as it slows. Tonight, we're going to go on a little trip. We're going to visit a world that is very, very different from our own. We're going to talk about a very old idea from a time of castles and cathedrals, a time that moved much, much more slowly than our time does. It's an idea about ambition. It's a funny thing, isn't it? From the time we're very little, we're taught to climb, to get ahead, to be better than we were yesterday. We're always looking up at the next step, the next goal, the next achievement. It can feel like we're all on a big, invisible ladder, trying our best to climb to the top. And it can be a little tiring. But the story we're going to explore tonight comes from a time when people believed there was no ladder to climb. A time when they believed that the goal of life wasn't to change your spot, but to learn how to be perfectly, peacefully, and beautifully content right where you already were. It's a philosophy that our modern world has completely forgotten. And because of that, it can be a wonderful place to rest. So don't worry about remembering any of this. There won't be a test. This is just a long, rambling story. A quiet little journey to a world without ladders. A world where you don't have to climb. A world where you can just be. So let the day go. Let the climbing go. This time is just for you. Let's begin. It's a funny thing, isn't it? That feeling we sometimes get, lying in the dark. It's that little, nagging voice that pops up out of nowhere. The one that whispers, "Are you sure you're doing enough?" It's the voice that makes you think about what other people are doing. You remember a picture someone posted online of their perfect vacation or their new kitchen. Or you think about a friend who got a promotion, and for a second, you feel a little bit behind. Like you're in a race, but you're not quite sure where the finish line is, or even who you're racing against. This feeling, it comes from this invisible thing that we all live with. Think of it as a ladder. A giant, invisible ladder that stretches up into the sky, so high you can't even see the top. And from the time we're very little, we're told that our main job in life is to climb it. Nobody ever shows you the ladder. You can't touch it, but you can feel it. You can feel it when you're talking to someone and you find yourself wondering, are they on a higher rung than I am? The rungs of this ladder are made of all sorts of strange things. One rung is called having a good job. A little higher up, there's a rung called having a better job than your friend. There are rungs for having a nicer car, a bigger house, a more exciting looking life. There are some really weird, specific rungs on this ladder. There's a rung for having a healthy sourdough starter that you post pictures of. There's a rung for going on a spontaneous trip that looks effortless but was actually planned for 6 months. There's even a rung for being more relaxed and mindful than everyone else. It's very tiring. Being peacefully calm has somehow become a competitive sport. And so we climb. We wake up in the morning and we put our feet on the ladder. We grab onto the rungs and we try to pull ourselves up, even just a little bit. We're all trying to get a leg up. We spend our days climbing, and we're so focused on it, we barely notice anything else. The weirdest part about climbing this ladder is that you can't really look at your own 2 feet. You have to be looking up at the people on the rungs above you. You think, wow, look at them. They've really got it figured out. I need to get up there. And at the same time, you're looking down at the people on the rungs below you, and you feel a little bit of relief. Okay, you think, at least I'm not down there. It's exhausting. Your arms get tired from pulling yourself up. Your neck gets sore from constantly looking up and down. You can never just stand still and enjoy the view from where you are. Because the first rule of the invisible ladder is, you must always be climbing. Standing still is the same as falling behind. And who built this ladder anyway? Nobody seems to know. Who is the official ladder inspector who decides what the rungs are made of this year? No one can say. And where does the ladder even go? What's at the very top? A golden palace? A lifetime supply of pizza? A nice quiet room where you can finally take a nap? Nobody has a clue. We are all just climbing, with a serious, determined look on our faces, as if we know exactly what we're doing. It's like being in a giant, silent play where everyone has been told their motivation is to go up, and we're all just hoping we're doing it right. And that heavy feeling you might be feeling right now, that deep, bone-tired feeling, a lot of that comes from this. It's the feeling of having been climbing all day. Climbing at work, climbing at home, even climbing when you're supposed to be relaxing. But just for tonight, what if we could just get off? What if, just for the next little while, you could just step off the ladder, find a nice, comfortable spot at the bottom, lean your back against it, and just rest? Because the story we're going to explore comes from a world that didn't have this ladder. A world that didn't even know what climbing meant. A world that was built on a completely different shape. Not a ladder going up, but a great, big, beautiful map where everything already had its own perfect place. So, you've stepped off the ladder. You're sitting on the nice, cool ground at the bottom, and for the first time in a long time, you're not looking up or down. You're just looking forward. And what do you see? You see a world without a ladder in it. Imagine that for a second. Imagine waking up tomorrow and the entire idea of climbing, of getting ahead, of making it, was just gone. It's like being in a movie where they forgot to write a bad guy, or a video game where there's no final boss. The whole point isn't to win. The whole point is just to explore the beautiful world they built. Our world today is completely obsessed with the idea of a top. We have bestseller lists, top 10 countdowns, charts that tell us who is the richest, the most famous, the most followed. We rank everything. We even rank vegetables. People will argue with you about which is the best kind of potato. It's all a competition. We are all trying to get to the top of some imaginary mountain. But the world we're visiting tonight, this old medieval world, it didn't think like that. They didn't see the world as a mountain to be climbed. They saw it as a great, big, beautiful painting. Or maybe a tapestry. Think of a giant tapestry hanging on a castle wall. One of those huge ones that tells a whole story. It's got kings and queens, and farmers and animals, and trees and stars. Every single thread in that tapestry has a job to do. There's the bright, golden thread that makes the king's crown. It's shiny and everyone looks at it. But then, way down at the bottom, there's a humble, brown thread that makes the trunk of a tree. Nobody really notices the brown thread. But if you were to pull that one brown thread out, what would happen? The whole picture would start to unravel. The tree would be gone. The story wouldn't make sense. In a tapestry, the humble brown thread is just as important as the shiny gold one. They just have different jobs. The gold thread's job is to be shiny. The brown thread's job is to be strong and earthy. The gold thread isn't better than the brown thread. It's just golder. This is how these medieval thinkers saw the whole universe. They believed that everything and everyone was a thread in a giant, cosmic tapestry. And your job wasn't to try and become a different thread. You weren't a brown thread trying to become a gold one. That would be silly. That would mess up the whole picture. Your job was just to be the best possible thread you could be, right where you were. If you were a brown thread, your purpose was to be the most beautiful, strong, and perfectly brown thread imaginable. It's a funny thought. A carrot, lying in the dark soil, isn't thinking to itself, "Gosh, if only I could become a pumpkin." Pumpkins get all the attention in the autumn. No, a carrot's whole purpose, its whole reason for being, is to become the most orange, crunchy, and perfectly carrot-y carrot it can be. That is the carrot's great work. And in this old, quiet way of thinking, it was the same for people. The goal wasn't to change who you were. The The goal was to fully become who you already were. It's a strange idea, isn't it? To take away the race, to remove the competition, to just say, the climbing is over. There is no top. All that's left to do is to be here, in your own perfect spot in the great big picture. There's a quietness in that, a deep breath. The pressure is just gone. So here we are. We've stepped off the frantic, invisible ladder of our modern world, and we're standing in a quiet, different place. A place that isn't a competition. A place that's more like a giant, peaceful tapestry. But what was the pattern of that tapestry? If it wasn't a race to the top, what was it? The people in this old, medieval time had an answer. They had a picture in their minds of how everything fit together. They called it by a few different names, but the simplest way to think of it is as a great cosmic map. Or, if you like, a great chain of being. It wasn't a ladder you were meant to climb, but a beautiful, perfect, and permanent chain that linked every single thing in the universe together, from the smallest speck of dust all the way up to the stars. It was like the universe was a giant, perfectly organized library. In a library, every book has its own specific place on a shelf. A little book of poetry doesn't sit there feeling sad because it's not a big, thick history book. It's not trying to become a history book. Its job is to be the best little book of poetry it can be, right there in its own perfect spot. And the whole library only works because every book stays where it belongs. That's what this great chain was like. A filing system for all of reality. And it was believed to be beautiful and perfect because it was designed by God. It wasn't an accident. It was a masterpiece of organization. Let's take a slow, sleepy walk through this map. Let's start at the very, very bottom. Down here, on the lowest level of existence, you have the things that simply are. This is the kingdom of rocks, of dirt, of sand, of water. Things that have being, but not life. Think of a stone. A simple, gray, smooth stone lying at the bottom of a quiet stream. The stone has a purpose. Its purpose is to be a stone. It is incredibly good at its job. It is solid. It is heavy. It is completely and utterly present. It is not trying to become a better stone. It is not worried that the other stones are more popular or more interesting. It is not stressed about its career path. It has achieved peak stoneness. And there it rests, in the cool water, perfectly content in its own being. It has no ambition. And because of that, it is in a state of perfect peace. Isn't that a lovely thought? The simple, quiet dignity of a rock. Now, let's take one slow step up on this great map. Just above the stones and the water, we find the things that have both being and life. This is the world of plants. The silent, beautiful kingdom of the trees, the flowers, the moss, the grass. Think of a giant oak tree in the middle of a field. Like the stone, it has being. It is solid, it is here. But it also has something more. It has life. It is quietly, slowly, and patiently growing. It pulls water up from the earth through its roots. It turns its leaves to the sun to drink in the light. It has a kind of ambition, you could say, but it is a very different kind of ambition. The oak tree is not trying to become a cloud or a bird. The oak tree's whole life is a slow, magnificent effort to become the most perfect and complete version of an oak tree it can possibly be. To have the deepest roots, the strongest branches, the greenest leaves. Its ambition is to fulfill its own nature, not to escape it. And there it stands, for hundreds of years, in a state of slow, growing peace. Let's take another gentle step up. Above the plants, we find the creatures that have being and life and movement. This is the animal kingdom. A bird can fly from the tree. A deer can walk through the forest. A fish can swim in the stream. They can feel things. They can feel the warmth of the sun and the cold of the rain. But look at them. A squirrel is frantically busy, but it is only busy with one thing, being a squirrel. It is collecting nuts. It is chattering in the branches. It is not lying awake at night worried about its 5-year plan. It is not suffering from imposter syndrome. It is completely absorbed in the great and important work of being a squirrel, right here, right now. It is living completely within its own nature. The stone, the tree, the squirrel, all of them are in their perfect place on the great cosmic map. None of them are trying to climb. None of them feel behind. They are all just being what they were made to be, with a simple, uncomplicated grace. And in this great, beautiful, ordered system, there is no chaos. There is no race. There is just a deep, humming, cosmic peace. A sense that everything is exactly where it is supposed to be, playing its own small, perfect part in a song that is as big as the universe. Let's go back to that stone. Let's just stay here for a while, at the very bottom of that great, cosmic map. Down here in the cool, quiet, simple world of things that just are. Let's sit on the bank of that clear, gentle stream and just watch that one, single, ordinary stone. Think about all the things that stone is not doing right now. The stone is not worried about tomorrow. It has no meetings to attend, no emails to answer. There is no to-do list in the stone's world. Its schedule for the rest of its existence is completely clear. The stone is not replaying an embarrassing conversation from last week. It is not lying there thinking, "Oh, why did I say that? I should have said this instead." The stone has no regrets. It has perfect confidence in its own quiet history of being a stone. The stone is not comparing itself to the other stones. It is not looking at the slightly larger, more interestingly shaped stone a few inches upstream and feeling a pang of envy. It does not wish it were shinier. It does not feel insecure about the little bit of moss growing on its left side. In fact, it probably enjoys the company. The stone is not trying to improve itself. It is not listening to podcasts about how to be a more efficient and productive stone. It is not reading books on the 7 habits of highly effective pebbles. The stone has absolutely no interest in self-help. It has already achieved its final form. It is a stone. The job is done. It is in a permanent state of cosmic retirement. Think about that for a moment. The sheer, unshakable peace of that. To have no ambition, no anxiety, no regret, no envy. To just be. Now think about what the stone is doing. It is resting. It is feeling the cool, clear water of the stream flow over it. It has been feeling that same gentle pressure for 100 years, maybe 1,000. The water is like time, just flowing past, and the stone remains. The water polishes it, smooths its rough edges, but it doesn't change what it is. It just makes it a more perfect version of itself. The stone is feeling the weight of its own being. It is heavy, and it is content in its heaviness. It is not trying to fly. It is not trying to float. It is perfectly happy being anchored to its own little spot in the universe. It is a master of gravity. The sun shines down through the water, and the stone feels a gentle warmth on its surface. When winter comes, it feels the deep, still cold. It is a silent witness to the passing of the seasons. It has seen the leaves turn and fall 1,000 times. It has seen the stream freeze over and thaw again. It is a keeper of a long, slow, silent history. The stone's entire purpose, its whole grand mission in the universe, is to be a stone, and it is succeeding every single second of every single day with absolutely no effort at all. Its resume has one line on it: stone, and it has performed this role flawlessly since the beginning of its time. This is peak performance in the medieval universe. What if, just for tonight, you could borrow a little bit of that stone's wisdom? What if you could let your body be heavy, just like the stone? Let your muscles relax and feel the gentle, anchoring pull of gravity. You don't have to hold anything up. You can just rest, solid and still. What if you could let your thoughts flow past you, like the water in the stream? A worried thought, a memory, a plan for tomorrow. You don't have to grab onto it. You can just notice it and let it drift on by, downstream. It's just water. It will pass. The quiet peace of a stone is the peace of knowing that you don't have to do anything right now. You don't have to become anything. You don't have to improve. Your only job, just for this moment, is to be here, to be still, to rest. You have already succeeded. The job is done, and a deep, quiet peace can settle over you, as old and as steady as a stone at the bottom of a stream. Let's leave the quiet stream and walk, very slowly, into a beautiful, sun-drenched meadow. We're taking one step up on that great chain of being. We're moving from the world of things that just are to the world of things that are and also grow, the world of plants. And in this meadow, let's look at one single flower. Maybe it's a dandelion, a simple, cheerful, yellow dandelion. Now, a dandelion is a little different from a stone. A stone's work is done. It is complete. But a flower has a job to do. It has a kind of ambition. But it is a very, very different kind of ambition from the one we know on our invisible ladder. The dandelion's whole life is one single, gentle, unwavering mission: to become the most perfect dandelion it can be. It starts as a tiny, hopeful seed, buried in the cool, dark earth. And it has an inner calling, a quiet voice that says, "Reach for the light." And so it begins its slow, patient work. It is not in a hurry. It is not competing with the other seeds. It is just listening to that inner instruction. It sends down a root, anchoring itself to the earth, finding water and strength. And it sends a tiny green shoot up, pushing through the soil, until one morning, it finally breaks through into the sunshine. Does the little dandelion shoot look over at the giant, ancient oak tree at the edge of the meadow and feel discouraged? Does it say, "Oh, what's the point? I'll never be that tall. I'll never be that grand"? No, the thought would never even occur to it. The dandelion is not on the oak tree's ladder. The dandelion is on the dandelion's path. Its only concern is the next small step in becoming a dandelion. And so it grows. It unfurls its jagged green leaves. It feels the sun on them, and it quietly, magically, turns that sunlight into life. It is a slow, silent miracle. Then, one day, it feels a new calling from within. A bud forms at its center, tightly closed. It is gathering all of its energy, not to get a promotion, not to impress the other flowers, but for one single, glorious purpose: to bloom. And when it's ready, it opens. It reveals its cheerful, yellow, sun-like face to the world. And for a few beautiful days, its whole job is just to be yellow, to be a tiny, bright spot of joy in the green meadow. It turns its face to follow the sun across the sky. It soaks in the warmth. It provides a little bit of food for a passing bee. It is not trying to be the most famous flower in the world. It is not trying to get its picture on the cover of Meadow Weekly. It is just being yellow, and it is a complete and total success. But the dandelion's work is not done. Its ambition has one more chapter. It lets its yellow petals fall away, and it performs one last, incredible transformation. It becomes that beautiful, delicate, white puffball, a perfect sphere of 100 tiny seeds, each one holding the promise of a new dandelion. And it waits. It doesn't try to force anything. It just waits for the perfect moment. It waits for a child to come along and make a wish. Or it waits for a gentle breeze. And when that breeze comes, the dandelion does the last and most important thing it was born to do. It lets go. It releases all of its seeds, its hopes, its entire future to the wind. It doesn't know where they will land. It doesn't try to control it. It just trusts. It lets them fly away, and its work is finally, truly done. The ambition of a flower is not to climb, but to grow. And not to grow into something else, but to grow into the most complete and beautiful version of itself. And then, when the time is right, to have the grace to let it all go. What if, just for a moment, you could feel that kind of ambition? Not the frantic need to climb, but the quiet, patient, inner call to just bloom? To just be you, right where you are, in your own little spot in the meadow. And to know that that is more than enough. It is, in fact, everything. It's a strange and tiring feeling, isn't it? The feeling that you might be in the wrong place. It's the feeling of wearing shoes that are just a little bit too tight. Or the feeling of being at a loud party when all you want is a quiet room. It's the feeling that everyone else got a secret instruction manual for life, and yours got lost in the mail. We spend so much of our energy searching, wondering, is this it? Is this where I'm supposed to be? Or is there somewhere else, somewhere better, that I should be trying to get to? We look for our place in a job, in a city, in a relationship, in a hobby. We are constantly auditioning for a role that we hope is the right one. And the constant searching, the constant low-level anxiety that we might have it all wrong, is one of the heaviest parts of that invisible ladder we were talking about. But the medieval mind, the mind that created this great cosmic map, would find our search very, very confusing. To them, the idea of finding your place would be as strange as a fish trying to find the water it's swimming in. In their world, you are not a misplaced piece. You are not a lost traveler looking for the right road. You are a note in a great, cosmic symphony that has been playing since the beginning of time. Think of a grand orchestra, 100 musicians, all sitting on a stage. You have the violins, dozens of them, all playing the beautiful, soaring melody. They are the heroes of the song. You have the deep, soulful cellos, providing the rich, emotional foundation. You have the loud, proud trumpets, announcing all the important moments. And then, way in the back, you have a person whose only job for the entire 45-minute symphony is to play the triangle. Now, from our modern point of view, we might look at the triangle player and feel a little bit sad for them. We might think, gosh, that's not a very important job. They only play one note. All the violinists are working so hard, and this person just stands there waiting. Don't they wish they could be a violinist? We see it as a hierarchy. The first violin is the CEO, and the triangle player is the intern. But in the medieval worldview, this is completely wrong. The great composer who wrote the symphony wrote a part specifically for the triangle. He needed that one, single, bright, clear, shimmering note to happen at one exact, perfect moment. If that note is missing, the entire symphony is a little bit less beautiful, a little bit less complete. The triangle player's job is not to wish they were a violin. That would be a disaster. The orchestra doesn't need another violin. It needs a triangle player. The triangle player's great and noble purpose is to spend the whole symphony waiting, listening, being perfectly present, so that when their one moment comes, they can play the most beautiful, perfect thing in the history of the universe. Their place is not small or unimportant. It is precise. It is essential. It is their own. You have your own note to play in this great, quiet song. You have your own thread to be in the great tapestry. Maybe you feel like your part is a quiet one. Maybe you feel like you're the humble brown thread, not the shiny gold one. Maybe you feel like the triangle player in the back row. But in this old, gentle way of thinking, that is a place of incredible dignity. Your purpose is not to become a different instrument. Your purpose is to play your own note with a quiet love. Your place is not a title. It's not a location on a map. It's not a rung on a ladder. Your place is the simple, profound, and unrepeatable fact of being you. Right here, right now, lying in your bed. The long, tiring search for where you're supposed to be is over. It was over before it even began. You are already here. You have arrived. Can you feel the relief in that? The feeling of putting down a heavy bag you didn't even know you were carrying. The feeling of finally taking off the tight shoes. The search is done. You are not lost. You are exactly where you are supposed to be in the great, cosmic map of everything. You are home. And now, you can just rest. It's a natural thought, isn't it? If you had to choose a role in this great medieval tapestry, you'd probably choose to be the king or the queen. You'd want to be the shiny gold thread. Nobody, if they were being honest, would choose to be the humble brown thread of the farmer. Our modern minds, trained on that invisible ladder, see the king at the top and the farmer at the bottom. One is a winner and one is a loser. But the medieval mind didn't see it that way at all. They saw the two roles as different, yes, but equally important, equally necessary, and equally full of a strange and quiet dignity. Let's visit them both and see what their lives are really like. First, let's go to the farmer. Imagine him. He wakes up before the sun. The world is cool and quiet and smells of damp earth and hay. His first thought is not about promotions or social status, or what the other farmers think of him. His first thought is about the sky. He looks to the east to see what kind of weather the day will bring. His whole life is a long, slow conversation with the earth and the seasons. He goes out into his field. He feels the real, solid ground under his feet. He is not living in a world of ideas or emails or abstract problems. He is living in a world of real things. He can feel the rough, wooden handle of his plow in his hands. He can feel the warmth of the sun on his back as it rises. He can hear the sound of the birds and the lowing of his ox. His work is hard, but it is simple, and it is deeply meaningful. He is not pushing papers around. He is not trying to sell something to someone who doesn't need it. He is a partner with the earth in the sacred and ancient work of creating food. He plants a tiny, dead-looking seed and has faith that the earth will help him turn it into life. At the end of a long day, he is tired, but it is a good tired. It is the deep, satisfying tiredness that comes from real work. His body aches, but his mind is quiet. He does not lie awake at night worrying about market fluctuations or corporate restructuring. He worries about the rain. It is a simple, honest worry. He eats a simple meal, bread that he grew himself. He sits with his family, and he falls into a deep, dreamless sleep. In the great chain of being, this man is not a failure. He is the foundation. He is the strong, brown thread that holds the whole bottom of the tapestry together. Without him, the king would have no kingdom. The knights would have no one to protect. The priests would have no one to pray for. His work is not glamorous, but it is essential. His purpose is not to become a king. His purpose is to be a good farmer. And in this, he is a complete success. His life has a profound and quiet dignity. Now, let's travel from the field to the castle. Let's visit the king. We imagine him living a life of ease and luxury. But in this old way of thinking, his life is the opposite of easy. His life is a burden, a heavy, sacred, and relentless burden. He wakes up in a soft bed, but his first thought is not one of peace. It is one of weight. The weight of his entire kingdom rests upon his shoulders. He doesn't just worry about the rain on one field. He worries about the rain on 1,000 fields. He worries about the harvest for all his people. He gets dressed, not in comfortable clothes, but in heavy robes. They are a costume. He is not a person anymore. He is a symbol. He puts on the crown, and it is not a glittering prize. It is a heavy hat full of worries. His day is not his own. From morning until night, there is a line of people at his door. Generals who need him to make decisions about war and peace. Treasurers who need him to approve budgets. Nobles arguing over land. Foreign ambassadors with tricky questions. And poor, humble petitioners who need his justice. He cannot simply do what he wants. He must constantly try to figure out what is right, what is just, what is best for the kingdom. The farmer gets to touch the real earth. The king only touches papers and seals in the hands of people who want something from him. At the end of the day, he eats a rich meal, but he might not even taste it. His mind is still buzzing with the day's problems. And when he lies in his big, comfortable bed, he does not fall into a deep, dreamless sleep. He lies awake. He worries. Is there enough grain in the storehouses for winter? Is that neighboring duke planning a rebellion? Did I make the right decision in that dispute today? His life is not a prize. It is a sacrifice. His purpose is not to enjoy his power. His purpose is to be a good king, to be the strong, golden thread that holds the top of the tapestry together. It is a lonely, tiring, and incredibly important job, and it, too, has a profound and heavy dignity. The farmer and the king. One sleeps the deep sleep of physical labor. The other sleeps the light, troubled sleep of mental responsibility. Neither life is better. They are just two different, essential notes in the same great song. And the peace they find is not in trying to switch places, but in doing their own job, in their own place, as best they can. The farmer is asleep in his simple cottage. The king is tossing and turning in his grand castle. But they are both under the same roof. The great, dark, silent roof of the night sky. Let's imagine that sky for a moment. Not our sky, which is often hazy and washed out by the lights of our busy cities. Let's imagine a true medieval sky. A sky from a time when the world went completely and utterly dark at night. It is a deep, profound, velvet black. And against that black, the stars are not just little pinpricks of light. They are brilliant. They are sharp. They look like someone has taken a huge bag of diamonds and spilled it across the heavens. The Milky Way isn't a faint, cloudy smudge. It's a great, glowing river of light, a bright, shimmering path across the dome of the world. And it is all completely, perfectly silent. In our modern world, when we look up at the stars, we might think of science, of galaxies and light years and nuclear fusion. We might feel an urge to understand it, to solve it, to conquer it. Our ambition even reaches for the stars. But the medieval mind looked up at that same sky and felt something very different. They felt awe. On their great cosmic map, the stars, the moon, and the planets were on a much higher level than humanity. They were above us in every sense of the word. They were seen as being made of a finer, purer, more perfect substance than our messy, earthly bodies. They were the great, shining, celestial beings. And they had a job to do, a very important one. They were the great timekeepers of the universe. They turned in their slow, perfect, predictable circles, and by their movements, the seasons changed. The tides rose and fell. The farmer knew when to plant his seeds and when to harvest his crops by watching them. They were the great, silent, eternal clockwork of God. And what could you learn from looking up at them? You could learn the most peaceful lessons in the world. First, you could learn about silence. These immense, powerful, shining beings perform their great and cosmic dance across the sky every single night, and they do it without making a single sound. There is no drama. There is no fuss. There is no complaining. They just do their work, silently, gracefully, and perfectly. They teach us the profound strength and dignity of doing our own work quietly. Second, you could learn about patience. The star you see shining tonight was in that same spot last night, and 1,000 years ago, and 1,000,000 years before that. It is not in a hurry. It does not get bored. It is the very definition of patience and constancy. It is a quiet reminder that not everything needs to happen right now. But the most important lesson the stars taught was the lesson of perspective. Lying there in your bed, you might be holding a worry in your mind. A worry about work, or money, or something you said. And in the dark, that worry can feel huge. It can feel like it fills up the whole room. It can feel like the most important and heavy thing in the world. But now, imagine looking up at that medieval sky. You see a single star. That star is a giant, burning sun, 1,000 times bigger than our whole world. And it is so far away that its light has taken 10,000 years just to reach your eye. And it is just one star, among billions and billions of others, in a universe so vast it is impossible to even imagine. And suddenly, what happens to your worry? It shrinks. It becomes what it truly is, a single, tiny grain of sand on an infinite beach. A single, tiny drop of water in an endless ocean. The great, silent, beautiful, eternal dance of the stars doesn't even notice it. And that is not a sad thought. It is a wonderfully liberating one. It means you don't have to carry that worry so tightly. You can loosen your grip. You can put it down. You are a small, quiet part of a very, very big and beautiful story. Your place in the tapestry is important, but your worries are very, very small. And as you look up at that vast, silent, peaceful sky, your own mind can become just as vast, and just as silent, and just as peaceful. Isn't it a strange and heavy burden we carry? This modern idea, this promise that we hear from the time we are very small. You can be anything you want to be. It is meant to be the most wonderful, liberating gift in the world. And it is a gift our ancestors could only have dreamed of. But as we lie here, in the quiet, honest darkness, we can admit that sometimes this great freedom feels less like a beautiful, open field to play in, and more like a vast, empty, terrifying desert with no signposts. The pressure of that freedom is immense. It's the pressure to choose the one perfect career path out of a million options, because if you choose the wrong one, you've wasted your potential. It's the pressure to craft the perfect personality, to have the perfect set of interesting hobbies, to build the perfect life story, because the raw materials are all there, and if you build something crooked or small, it's your own fault. It's like being a sculptor, and you're given a huge, flawless block of marble and a single chisel. And the world says, okay, inside this block of marble is a perfect statue of your life. All you have to do is carve away everything that isn't it. But be careful. One wrong tap of the hammer, and you could ruin the whole thing forever. No wonder we feel so anxious. And out of this pressure comes the impossible demand that we must try to be everything, all at once. We are supposed to be wildly successful in our careers, pushing forward, climbing that ladder. But we are also supposed to be calm, mindful, and perfectly present parents, partners, and friends, never distracted, always available. We are supposed to keep our bodies in perfect shape, like finely tuned machines. But we are also supposed to be relaxed and joyful, people who know how to enjoy a good meal or a lazy Sunday without a flicker of guilt. We are supposed to be deeply informed about every crisis happening on the other side of the planet. But we are also supposed to protect our own mental health and not be overwhelmed by the news. We are supposed to be adventurous world travelers with amazing stories to tell. But we are also supposed to be responsible, stable members of our local community. The list of shoulds is a mile long. Be creative. Be practical. Be spontaneous. Be organized. Be vulnerable. Be strong. The modern ideal is not a person. It's a superhero who can do it all, and do it all with a relaxed, photogenic smile. And the weight of trying to be this impossible superhero, the weight of trying to be everything to everyone, and especially to ourselves, is the heaviest weight of all. It is the true burden of our time. Now let's just let that feeling go, just for a moment. Let all of those shoulds and supposed tos just float away. And let's come back to our old, quiet, medieval world, back to our great cosmic map, and let's feel the profound and almost shocking relief of its central, gentle message. You are not supposed to be everything. You are not even supposed to be a lot of things. The whole point is that you are just supposed to be one thing. You are supposed to be you. The quiet, beautiful gift of this forgotten philosophy is the permission it gives you to be gloriously, peacefully, and wonderfully incomplete. It is the permission to be a specialist in the quiet, lifelong art of being yourself. A stone in a stream is not also trying to be a cloud. It is a master of being a stone. An oak tree is not also trying to be a bird. It is a master of being an oak tree. The triangle player in the orchestra is not also trying to play the violin. They are a master of the triangle. Each one is a master of its own small, perfect, and essential nature. You don't have to be good at everything. You have permission to be bad at some things. It is okay if you are not a natural leader. It is okay if you are not the life of the party. It is okay if your life is small and quiet and wouldn't look very exciting in an online post. The great tapestry of the universe does not need every thread to be glittering gold. That would be a very boring and gaudy tapestry. It needs the quiet strength of your brown thread. It needs the gentle calm of your blue thread. It needs your specific, unique, and unrepeatable color exactly where you are. Imagine the feeling. The feeling of taking off a backpack that you've been wearing for so long, you forgot it was even there. A backpack filled with all the heavy expectations of who you're supposed to be, and just setting it on the floor. What is left when you put the backpack down? Just you. The simple, quiet, uncluttered reality of the person lying in this bed. Not the potential you, or the ideal you, or the should be you. Just the you that is here right now, breathing in and breathing out. And you realize that this person is not a work in progress that you have failed to complete. This person is not a project that is behind schedule. This person is already a complete and finished thing, like the stone. And at the same time, this person is a beautiful and slowly growing thing, like the flower. Both are true at once. There is a deep, profound peace in this. The peace that comes from accepting your own beautiful limitations. The peace of knowing your own small, perfect place in the song and not needing to play a different instrument. It is the incredible relief of not having to be everything, and the quiet, secret joy of being allowed to be just one, single, simple thing. Your own quiet, wonderful self. So here we are, at the end of our long, slow walk together. We have stepped off the invisible ladder of our busy world. We have wandered through the quiet, cosmic map of a forgotten time. We have felt the deep, unshakable peace of a stone, the patient and graceful ambition of a flower, the silent, eternal dance of the stars. We have felt the profound and simple relief of knowing that we do not have to be everything. And now, here at the very end of the path, we have arrived. There is only one last thing to do, one final instruction, and that is to stop. You can stop climbing now. Just let those words settle over you. Don't think about them. Just feel them. Let them land as gently as a soft blanket being laid over you. You can stop climbing. Now, think, for a moment, about the body of a climber. It is never truly at rest. It is always tense, always ready for the next move, the next effort. But you are not a climber anymore. At least, not for tonight. So let's begin with your shoulders. All day, they have been carrying the weight. They have been hunched forward, reaching for that next rung, braced for the next challenge. But the climbing is over. You can let them go. Feel that tension that has become so familiar you barely notice it just begin to melt away. Imagine it turning from something solid into something soft, like a block of ice slowly turning into water. Feel your shoulders drop away from your ears, settling down into a place of deep, heavy rest. They have done enough. They can be still. Now, think of your hands. The hands of a climber are always gripping. All day, your hands have been holding on. Holding on to a phone, a keyboard, a steering wheel. Holding on to your plans, your worries, your ambitions. But the climbing is over. You don't need to grip anymore. You can let your hands go soft. Feel the muscles in your palms and your fingers just release. Uncurl your fingers and let them rest, open and empty and peaceful. There is nothing you need to hold on to right now. The world can take care of itself for a little while. Think of your jaw and the little muscles in your face. When we are climbing, when we are concentrating and striving, we clench our jaw without even knowing it. We furrow our brow. It is the face of effort. But the effort is done. You can let that go too. Let a little space come between your teeth. Let the muscles in your forehead go smooth and slack. The serious, determined face of the climber can be replaced by the soft, peaceful, simple face of someone who is resting. The race is finished for today, not because you won or because you lost. It is finished because you have simply decided to walk off the racetrack. You have remembered that the constant, frantic climbing was just a game, and you can choose to stop playing whenever you want to. And tonight, you have chosen to stop. In our modern world, we often think of rest as a tool, a pit stop. It's something we do so we can be more productive tomorrow. We rest so we can get back to the climbing, stronger and faster. But that is not this kind of rest. This is a different country entirely. In the old, quiet world we have been visiting, rest is not a tool. Rest is a destination. It is not a frantic pit stop on the side of a noisy highway. It is a deep, quiet, safe harbor. The ship of your life has sailed through the busy waters of the day, and now it has come home. The sails are down. The anchor is dropped, and the boat just floats, held safely and gently by the still, quiet water of the night. Your perfect place, that spot on the cosmic map you might have worried you could never find, was never a job title or a city. It was not a rung on a ladder. Your perfect place, right at this very moment, is here. In this bed, in this quiet room, under the weight of this blanket. This is your precise and perfect spot in the universe for tonight. You have arrived. You are home. The long, tiring search is over. You are not behind schedule. You are not failing at anything. You are exactly where you are supposed to be, doing exactly what you are supposed to be doing. You are being still. You are being quiet. You are resting. And in the great, slow, gentle rhythm of this old universe, that is one of the most sacred and important jobs of all. So let that last little bit of the climber fall away from you. Let the day dissolve. You can stop climbing now. Your only work is to be heavy, to be still, and to let yourself drift into the deep and peaceful sleep that is waiting for you. You have earned it, not by your achievements, but simply by being. So now, the story is over. You can let it all go. Let the medieval world fade away like a dream. Let the great cosmic map dissolve into the starlight. The stone can rest in its stream, and the flower can sleep in its meadow. They were just little boats to carry you here, to this quiet and peaceful shore. There is nothing left to think about, nothing left to understand. Just bring your attention, ever so gently, to the feeling of your own breath. The slow, easy rhythm that happens all by itself. A gentle wave, rising as you breathe in and falling as you breathe out. You don't have to do a thing. It's the quietest song in the world, and it's playing just for you. With every breath out, you are letting go just a little bit more, sinking just a little deeper into comfort, sinking into stillness. Your mind is free now. It can drift and dream and wander wherever it likes. Your body is free to get heavy and soft, and to be held completely by your bed. You have permission to rest, deeply, peacefully, all through the night. Thank you for listening. Sleep well.